Here's an example where they're giving us x equals 3 tangent of a, and they want us to plug that in right there and right there for x, and then simplify this expression in terms of sines and cosines. All right, sounds kind of challenging. It's a very challenging section. Let's take this and plug it in right there and plug it in right there for the x, right? Because x equals that. So what do we get? I'll bring it up here. So x squared, that's going to be 3 tangent of a squared plus 9 all over 3 tangent of a squared. I kind of wrote this funny. It looks like tangent of a squared. There we go. Is this making sense so far? So you see how the x squared and x squared, x is now 3 tan a. So that became 3 tan a squared over 3 tan a squared, and then there's the plus 9 that was there. Okay, that's my first step. Now I need to square this stuff. So you're going to square all this stuff. You're going to square the 3 and square the tangent. It's going to become 9, because you know 3 squared is 9. Tangent squared of a plus 9 over, what's this, 9 tangent squared of a. This is getting a little weird. So what are we going to do with this? Well, I'm not exactly sure at this point. Let me think here. You know what we could do is we could just like cancel out this 9 tangent squared a, 9 tangent squared a, and the answer is just 9. There we go. No. I'm testing you. That's illegal procedure. Do you know that? Do you know you cannot do that? You cannot cancel? That's wrong. A lot of people do it though. Why is that so wrong? Let me write a note for you. Pluses, well, let's see. Adding and subtracting glues items together so you cannot cancel only one part of the glued package. You know, I always think it's kind of like shopping at Costco. I call it my Costco. My family shops at Costco because we have had a lot of kids, 5 kids. I say had because they're all getting old and going to college and leaving the house and actually got married and things like that. But throughout the years, my wife shopped at Costco because we had a lot of kids. And at Costco, Sam's Club, places like that, you buy in bulk. So that's kind of like what these pluses and minuses. They're like the glue at Costco. If you go to Costco, you try to buy one milk, you can't do it. It's plastic or glued to another one. You can't take your scissors to Costco and cut it and say, thanks, I just want one milk. Nope, they're going to give you a good price, but you have to buy in bulk. You have to buy 2. Well, that's what pluses, adding, and minuses, subtraction. That's what adding and subtracting is like in math. It's an important concept that you know this. So these are glued together. So what I'm saying is this and this are glued. Okay, so what? Well, that means you can't go like that. Why? Because you just broke that glue bond. That bond is saying, no. We are bosom buddies. These two right here, this guy and this guy, they're glued by that plus sign. They are together. They will stand or fall, cancel or don't cancel together. You can't say, well, I just want this guy. Leave the other one. Nope. Like going to Costco with your scissors. You can't do it. You buy them both or you buy nothing. That's what pluses and minuses do. It's an important rule that you understand in all of your, if you're going up to pre-calc and calc and higher math classes, it's a very important concept. Pluses and minuses are like glue connecting things together. And it makes a package deal like Costco. You can't break the glue bond. Okay, so we can't do that. You know what I'm saying? If this was times, if that was multiply, I would totally just cancel those out and the answer would be 9. That would be great and fine and good to do. But if it's plus or minus, you can't do it. Plus and minuses is like glue. Now you might think, if I was you, I'd be thinking, what a dumb rule. Why does math make up these weird, dumb rules? No, actually, math doesn't. Math is just following the truth. Let me prove it to you real quick. Just think about numbers. What if you had 2 plus 4 over 2 and you canceled the 2's? And it would become 4. But it's not 4. You know in reality it's 6 over 2, right? 2 plus 4 is 6. And what's 6 divided by 2? It's really 3, not 4. See how wrong it is to cancel those out? It's just not true. Whereas you might be thinking, if you tell me, Heron, if that was times, it'd be okay. It sure would. It would just be 4. Let's prove it. What's 2 times 4 really? 8 over 2. What is 8 divided by 2? See, it really is 4. You see, it really is true, isn't it? It's okay to cancel when you just have times. No glue bond there. I'm just making up the glue Costco thing to help you remember what's true. What's really true, you can see it right here. When you have a plus, you can't cancel those out. It's really 6 over 2. It's 3. It's not 4. It's just the truth. But we have to learn the truth. Math is beautifully just following the truth. That's all it's doing. So anyway, it's not it's not math that has a problem. It's us. We have trouble following the truth. Math does not. Okay, so anyway, so that's a long story to say don't do that. Don't cancel these because that plus sign is a package deal, a glued together thing. Can't do it. So what do you do then? What in the world do you do then? Well, they said, remember to write it in terms of sines and cosines. So what's tangent? You remember from our formula sheet? Tangent, right here, tangent is sine over cosine, huh? So coming back here, tangent is sine over cosine. Let me get rid of this stuff. Tangent is sine over cosine. So this is going to become 9. I don't like that 9. 9. And then what's tangent squared? Sine squared over cosine squared plus 9 over 9 times sine squared of A over cosine squared of A. We good so far? Right? I just changed it so that we could rewrite it in terms of sines and cosines. Now, what in the world are we going to do? There's a lot of rules of algebra you need to know to handle this. The next step is kind of tricky. Let me write it over here. When you have fractions, well, let me just write it sideways. When we have fractions over fractions, that's what we have here is fractions over fractions. What do? See what I mean? Fractions over fractions. When you have that, you have to multiply all the terms, top and bottom, by the LCD over 1. And what in the world is the LCD? The LCD is one of each one of each item, type of item, one of each type of item under the small bar. So what do we have under the small bar? We have a cosine squared and a cosine squared. That's all we got. You take one of each type. So I'm going to take the cosine squared. I'm not going to take cosine to the 4th. I'm just taking this guy, or just this guy, but not both, right? Just one of them, not both of them. One of each type of the stuff under the bar. So, and what do I do with it? I multiply it by LCD over 1. So I'm going to multiply this term here, and this term here, and this is all one big term. Terms are separated by pluses and minuses. So I'm multiplied by what? Oops, I'm kind of getting scribbly there. I'm running out of room a little bit. Cosine squared of A over 1. Same thing here. Cosine squared of A over 1. Same thing down here. Cosine squared of A over 1. Right here, this and this will cancel, and this will cancel. And so, what do we get? 9 sine squared of A plus 9 cosine squared of A over 9 sine squared of A. Did you track with all that? You see right here, this part, and right here, this part? Come down, right? Because all we had left was a 9 and a sine squared A. and a 9 and a cosine squared A, because these cosine squareds canceled out, and these cosine squareds canceled out, and the bottom we just had 9 sine squared A. Okay, now what? This is getting crazy. Well, can we cancel out these 9s? Yes. Now you might say, what, Mr. Henry, you said the glue thing, the plus. Right, but I'm buying both of them, aren't I? You can't do just one. Remember, the Costco does sell you stuff. You just have to buy both sides of the glue, don't you? If I go to buy the melt and they're glued together, I got to buy them both. Well, I took both of those 9s with the 1 down below, so that's fine to do. You can't just buy one, right? The glue doesn't stop you from buying anything. It just says don't buy only one. Buy them both. They're glued together. I bought them both. That's fine. So what's left then? Sine squared of A plus cosine squared of A over, whoops, try to do that a little more neatly, over sine squared of A. And now we're almost done. Now we just cancel out these sine squareds? No. Don't do that. Wouldn't it be a bummer to come this far and mess up? Right, that's illegal. There's a plus sign right there. That's a glue package, a glued together package on the top, isn't it? We cannot cancel out. This plus sign right here is gluing them together so that you can't buy just one. If you could cancel both of them, you could do it, but you can't cancel that cosine squared, right? So if you can't buy it all, you don't buy anything, like shopping at Costco. You buy the whole package or you buy nothing. You buy both these guys or you buy nothing. We can't buy them both, so we buy nothing. Now, well, then what are we going to do? Do you recognize this? Sine squared plus cosine squared. It's going to come up in probably more than half of the problems in our section. What is sine squared plus cosine squared? You need to be recognizing that. It'll really help you. There it is. Sine squared plus cosine squared is 1. So this is going to end up being 1 over sine squared of A. 1 over sine squared of A. And that's our answer. That was a stinking lot of work, wasn't it? 1 over sine squared of A. That's what goes in the box. 1 over sine squared of A. That was a lot of steps on that problem. So that's going to take hours of your life practicing again and again and again until you can get all those rules down. But as you do, it'll make you strong. If you want to go on to pre-calc and calc and some kind of engineering or math and science thing, you need to know all these rules. The Costco rule and the Costco rule and the multiply fractions over fractions, LCD, all that stuff. You need to learn all that, not just for these silly little trig things, but it's used all the time in higher math. So practice this, but it takes hours. It takes hours.